is beating, it's magical. The music's playing, losing control. The things I'm feeling, so mystical. Oh, the rhythm goes, and I can't feel the heat. And I keep moving to the beat. 'Cause I'm letting go. Gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. My heart is beating, it's magical. The music's playing, losing control. The things I'm feeling, so mystical. Oh, the rhythm goes, and I can't feel the heat. And I keep moving to the beat. 'Cause I'm letting go. Gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. We don't care, we're dancing all night long. Dancing all night long. 'Cause I'm letting go. Gotta let them know. Losing all control on the dance floor. We don't care, we're dancing all night long.
Holding on to what I know, to everything I've learned. What is real and fabricated? What is wrong? What is my problem? What can I get out of this world that I created? Fighting the storms in my head. Don't know where I have been. I'm alone, no one to turn to. No one understands, shit's too complicated. Away, and I feel like I am someone else. Away, and I feel like I don't know myself, no. Away, and I feel like I don't know my name. And I don't want to live this way. I don't wanna keep on wasting a life. I'm drowning in my head, I'm losing the mind. And if you could know, yeah, if I could show you, I don't wanna keep on living this life so faceless.
Yeah, Unknown Brain, Marvin Divine, and we back.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Made it through the rain and rain. I turned nothing into something. No more dealing with their assumptions. 'Cause I do what I gotta do and I know, can't nobody do it like me. All they do is judge me for who I might be. Maybe if they took some time to pick my mind to see that I'm cooler than lemons and iced tea. All I wanna do is live it up with the
wanna keep on wasting a life.
Yeah.
I'm drowning in my head, I'm losing the map. And if you could know, yeah, if I could show you, I don't wanna keep on living this life so faceless.
So faceless. She burns the bridges in my head by lighting up a fire. Bury my old thoughts instead so you could feel the same. I lay alone with you inside my mind. We would dance the night away to the morning light. Can I give you all of my love till we dance the night away? Can I give you all of my love till we dance the night away? And we give you all my love, all my love, all my love. And we give you all my love, all my love, all my love. Yeah, yeah. And we give you. Good in the morning light, reflections in my mind. Missing the fights, I don't care if I'm right. Let's just buy a bit more time. I live alone with you inside my mind. We would dance the night away till the morning light. Can I give you all of my love till we dance the night away? Can I give you all of my love till we dance the night away? And we give you all my love, all my love, all my love. And we give you all my love, all my love, all my love. Yeah, yeah.
How's it going, Mama Duck? Good. I am tired. Sure you do. Oh, the tracks are disappearing as I'm driving beside this. Making new tracks, that's funny. All things trying to cut corners so it runs better. So, Mama Duck, did you avoid all those nasty storms in your area? Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, you guys were getting smacked. It's not showing what game I'm playing. Well, that's no good. Rain. Well, that's good. Rain is all you need. We're getting snow on Thursday again. Like 1 or 2 inches, but still, I'm tired of snow. Yeah. Especially considering it's going to mix with rain. It's going to be absolutely gross. Super duper yucky. I don't need it. Makes it a lot worse, especially considering I drive for a living now. I'll be on the roads in that crap, but it's like 1 to 2 inches at the most, so it's not really going to be that bad. Studded tires helps. Visiting his parents, I take it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to do in the Panhandle otherwise. Nice. That's a good time to go camping. I take it the trip home from DC was uneventful. You didn't say anything the other day. I bet. I visited DC a couple times when I was younger. Which was funny, that picture that you actually sent over Discord was almost exactly where I was standing the last time I went over to the Lincoln Monument. 5-hour nap. At that point, 5 hours constitutes as just like, that's like a full-on night's sleep for me some nights. I mean, sometimes I get a little more, but it's like a full-on night's sleep before a 10-hour shift. But still, I hadn't slept in 24 hours. Ugh. The longest I've managed to stay awake at any given time is 36 hours. Family's okay. You know, same old, same old. Nothing really different going on there. Well, apart from what we talked about the other day. Just the long COVID and the baby just growing like a weed. Holy crap. Yeah, I wouldn't stay on a medication that kept me up for like 5 days. No thanks. That's insane. Like, I would much rather be drowned by my anxiety than stay awake for 4 or 5 days straight. Ugh. Isn't that a medication to help you sleep? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. There's too many damn meds out there these days. Ah, yeah, okay. See, I knew it was either something like the fibromyalgia or sleep. It would be pretty bad, though, if a sleep medication managed to keep you awake rather than put you to sleep. It didn't help with anything. God. See, that stuff's always hit or miss. There's never any rhyme or reason. It either really works well or it just doesn't do anything to anything. Or in my case, I have medications that I didn't work, period. Alright, I'm not going anywhere. Apparently my streams are not saying what I'm streaming. Just that I'm streaming. One of these days somebody's gonna have to define what a crap ton actually weighs. what I get for creating a crooked field. There's no good way of seeding it. Really not even all that much space to be maneuvering this thing. The seeder, of course, was the first air drill to make it out into the mod hub for all platforms. Seedhawk being a smaller brand that was chewed up and spit out by Vriedstein. They make Vaderstadt planters, seeders, things of that nature. Implements of tillage. Of course, now that the Borgo DLC has come out, there is a lot more options when it comes to seeders. That is just one of over 75 mods that have come out this week alone. Probably our largest launch week for mods. But here on Elm Creek, I decided the Seedhawk would make the best bet. It allows me to use an air drill, but it also allows me to use something that's not going to be too large. So it's got an 18 meter working width on the arms. The Borgo stuff, I think that's somewhere around 26 to 28 meters across. The seed carts are massive, and this tractor could definitely handle it, but I'm not going to use that. And we are, of course, planting our winter wheat. We'll turn the wheat into flour, and of course the straw will be turned into bedding. This will be ready to harvest the first half of July. So just getting those winter crops set into place. I have to take a roller and hack down the crop itself. Everything's kind of packed nice and tight around the seed. Finish this up though. It's job number one of the day. Getting some sort of error on here. I'm sure it's fine though. So over the next couple of weeks, some of these formats may be changing when it comes to the stream anyway. It looks like the option to stream through Streamlabs has become available for console streamers. So we're going to probably be experimenting with that. And of course our Tuesday nights will be running American Farm like Elm Creek here. There is a stream that I'm working on creating right now. But I'm not going to give away any... Wow. Okay, how far can I walk through this? Okay. I'm not going to give away anything right at the moment. Kind of keep it to myself, but for at least tonight's American map, and come into Elmcreek Dairy. So we've actually got a few different things going on in Elmcreek Dairy, but for right now, what you're seeing is kind of what we've got when it comes to October. Got a little rain on the forecast, so we're just trying to get a few odd jobs done. We've got one more field of soybean to harvest, but that'll be a while before that's ready. That's actually not ready yet. We'll probably be looking at the first week in November. We are running 3-day seasons at the moment on this map. Of or 3-day months, I should say. So you get about 9 days worth of season. Alright, she's back. So first challenge, now that we've got that planted, is getting over the railroad crossing without getting this thing caught. We do need to make sure that their train is not coming. Yeah. Nothing coming down the track. It is wide enough, should be able to fit the first go of it, but yeah, there we go. Okay. So now that we've got that planted, I've got some rolling to do on the 2 fields that are planted with winter wheat. Just have to wipe out these signs. And we're actually just going to leave the air drill with the cart right here for right now. Hell, we'll leave the whole rig. I won't need the 9R for anything because we don't have any more plowing to do for at least a month. We're using the 8R for our lime spreading on the fields, but this is the dairy. So over here we have the dairy barn. This will hold up to 85 head of cattle. It's pretty nice, pretty basic. Got an 8R. Got a separate storage garage for the 9R, the X9 harvester. This is the X9 harvester mod by Sid Modding. Sid Modding developed a few more American options for this particular harvester. Warning signs, markings, signal lights. They're all modernized. They're all American. Unfortunately, the base game model did not have nearly as much detail as it should have been for the time that it was being developed. Over here, this is going to store things like seed, fertilizer. I haven't really established that yet, but we're getting there slowly but surely. But this is just tucked off to the side. I have some silage additive, which we've used to create that silage over there. Basic barn. Another model of Sid Modding. A lot of the tractors, if not all the tractors on this particular farm, are Sid Mod tractors. He by far jumped on the wagon train pretty quick and got some pretty decent mods out there. The 8960 is his first articulating tractor. That 9RX is actually part of his 9R series of tractors, and he actually released that with a 9RT as well this time around, so a different model. This particular garage has a workplace trigger, so I can actually pull things to the outside that are too big to actually fit in the garage, go to the back and trigger full repair on what we need to. We are going to switch over to this silage bunker once we empty the other one, and that is where we're going to create some of the silage that we're working on, but that'll be kind of overflow. Our main shed, there isn't a lot in it at the moment, but this in particular is a very nice piece of equipment. This is Sid Modding's, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this is Sid Modding's 8RX. This was in Farming Simulator 19, but it did not come with this whole fertilizer tank system. This is an exact rate tanks. These are actually a thing that can be mounted to an 8RX, and it holds fertilizer that connects into this hose right here, which goes into this planter. This was a joint project by Sid Modding and another modder to get an exact merge planter, the newest planter on the John Deere line. This is 2022 planting model. The 1775 NT, which is actually a sister model. That's cool. This game is pretty good. I'll give it that. The mods that are coming out now are making it so much more bearable. which was a problem for a while. I didn't spend a whole lot of time playing it, to be honest. But this is the newest model planter for speed planting for them, and this goes hand in hand with this 8RX. So with this, I can actually fertilize and plant my corn crops at the same time, which get turned into cow feed. Fuel tank. I've got a disc here. I went with a Pottinger disc. We don't have an official John Deere disc yet. Yeah, you were telling me he loves tractors. He lives in a good state for that. At least he gets to see that stuff. I see it all the time now for work. The weather is changing up here, of course. We've got a lot of bare ground, even though we're getting 1 to 2 inches of snow on Thursday. We've still got a lot of bare ground. So a lot of the farmers are taking it upon themselves to start their field work. Well, what are little boys for if not to scare the snot out of you? And I'm gonna miss every one of your streams, unfortunately, because they always land on nights where I have to go to bed. Like, I literally go to bed an hour before you start streaming. So I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning with a notification of your stream, and I just go, well, that's not gonna work. Because I have to literally work. He was supposed to be asleep. Yeah, come on. Not that little man. So we've got the 2730 plow. This particular plow frame... Wow, you can't even walk on this one. You clip right through it. Okay. This particular plow is the heaviest plow implement in the world currently. John Deere weighted the frame. In game, you don't get the option to choose the pressure sensitivity on the baskets or the tines or everything, but it still takes a lot of horsepower, and this is the primary plow for the farm, which where we grow a lot of feed corn means I have to plow it every time. Okay, well, that does it for some of the equipment. I won't get into it too much, otherwise I'll be here half the night. I was testing out my lawnmower. This is my lawnmower. This is a little John Deere 110 articulating garden tractor with a haul behind mowing deck with separate engine. Little putt-putt. It's got headlights and everything. They did get that for Farming Simulator 19. Unfortunately, it was pretty much after 22 came out. So this kind of went to the wayside, but it's got the old John Deere logo on it. And I think it's from the mid-60s, if I remember right. Alright. So the other part of my playing this particular map is I'm actually doing things with the production system at the same time. So we're just going to mosey on over to the production plants and kind of show those off at the same time. Got a water trigger. I think it sits on where a sign technically spawns. So this sign is always down in the road. Yeah, it's a very nice truck. I will upgrade it when the other mod comes out from 82 Studios. But this is the original Trail Boss. Got the lights, light stuff up. It's pretty good. You can see in the dark. Well, I mean, beggars can't be choosers, right? All right. So these are the production areas. Greenhouses with tomatoes, lettuce, and strawberries. This is a grass drying plant. So we bring regular grass that we cut and we pour it into this plant here through the silo, and it dries it out, and then it turns it into hay, so we don't have to worry about tedding or windrowing the grass. We can just cut it with the forage harvester and bring it back, and let it produce hay over time. It's a bakery. As you can see, it makes bread and different breads with the wheat. These are two buildings that I'm currently producing wheat flour with. This one's actually doing chopped salad at the same time. You take the lettuce and the tomatoes and you can make salad with it, and it pops out these salad pallets. These are actual modded versions of that. So it adds things like strawberry ice cream, chopped salad. You can do oatmeal, all sorts of different productions that you can sell it. I have it doing regular productions. Yeah, it is interesting. It gains you a little more money. It takes a little longer now to make money, but it definitely, it feels like you get to take it step by step. Well, I mean, you grow the lettuce and tomato, and then you have it produce it into a chopped salad. But growing a chopped salad would be interesting. If you figure that out, let me know. Over here we have the beehives that create honey, and the pallets all register here. And then this is a new mod as of this week, but it's a building warehouse with shelves. So we can start storing the pallets away till we have enough till we have enough to sell all at once. So just a nice little, well, not little by any stretch of the imagination, but a nice shelved garage. Something we didn't have until this week. Alright, so that just about does it with that. I still have to wait for milk before I can start producing ice cream at that particular plant. I did go a little off the John Deere for my snow clearing tractor for up here. I've got a McCormick with a Samaz snow blower on the back and a Samaz plow on the front. Water truck and then a pallet truck to carry the products. So yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. Got auto save on. So up here we've got grass fields for just hay and stuff. We'll be planting, or we've planted wheat in these two fields. That should be enough to get us through. We're going to do corn in this. We're actually going to combine that last one. So it's going to be one massive cornfield here and a massive cornfield here. And then we're going to leave this one as hay as well. So it's going to be an operation based off of feed and everything else. But let's go ahead. Gotta move some pallets around. This is an all-electric forklift. And I just come over here once or twice a day and I clear out what's here for flour. Pallets of flour come at 1,000 liters of product. Most of the pallets come that way. But the flour in particular we can get out of the way. Get put into the bakery. They do have an industrial bakery that I haven't downloaded the mod for yet. Probably won't. But you can get a larger bakery that produces bread quicker. Bread is like $3,000 per 1,000 liters of it. So it makes a decent amount of money compared to just selling the wheat straight up. Because it does seem like Farming Simulator 22 went the way of... It sped things up in some ways, but it slowed it down in others. And making money is definitely something that it's slowed itself down with. mean, I don't produce like I used to in the milk aspect of things. I used to produce enough at any dairy barn that I would set up to literally give myself, you know, milk run every other day. Now it's like it's been 3 days and I have 1,000 liters of dairy in there for 12 cows that are giving milk. That's probably more accurate to real life situations, but it's probably more boring to the individuals playing the game to have that sort of accuracy. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. Seasons is kind of watered down from the Seasons mod. It's like they tried really hard to put it in the game, and they kind of flopped. Not gonna lie, it's one of my least favorite things in this. Maybe as more mod maps come up with their own like seasonal geos and things, that'll be nice. But you don't have to cure hay anymore in order to make it hay. You can just do, you know, you don't have to let it dry in the sun or anything like that. You can just ted it, windrow it, and pick it up. Obviously, I'm taking the route of kind of curing it all at once in a factory. There are just things that are slower paced, there are things that are faster paced, and then there are things that you kind of scratch your head and go, why they even do that? Okay, I think I'm gonna go in this door with it. And this is the first time I'm checking out this racking, so I don't know how much is gonna fit in the rack. Let's try to get up. The blind operations of forklift. I also do not know how the shelves are gonna take this. I know that when the game first launched, I did this thing where I hoarded a lot of the pallets being produced out of the greenhouses into the basement of a barn, which was really cool, multi-leveled barn, you know, but it made the frame rate unbearable once I got a decent amount in there, so it'll be interesting to see how the frame rate works with that many pallets being able to be stored in that. I mean, this was back in November when the game was first launched, so it might be different now. Forklift Simulator 2022. So, like I said, the goal is to produce. One of the things you can do is strawberry ice cream, so we're going to do that with the dairy that we produce. I'm not collecting sugar, so I'm not doing sugarcane or beet. So that kind of takes chocolate production out of the... Oh, I need to smooth that over. Okay. But anyway, that takes chocolate production out of it. Huh. Those racks look almost tall enough at the top, or looks like there's almost enough space on those racks at the top to put more pallets. There we go, not too bad. Pallets are not like bales, although I've started stacking those too. It's all about getting used to this new pace. Got it set on a ×3 with 3-day months, and it still doesn't seem to be fast enough. Crop growth is definitely a big issue that I don't like on this. On the old seasons, you could actually get a 2 plants out of a field. So it's like in Ohio and warmer environments like that, You can plant in your winter wheat in October, harvest it in July, the beginning of July, and then by the by the end of the July harvest, which is like done after the first week, you could plant things like soybean and get the soybean out of the ground late October, early November. Can't do that in the new seasons. It doesn't allow for a double crop system. So it makes it a bit of a bummer because you can't actually do things to real life. So if you were going to do arables, like wheats and things of that nature, you'd have to get used to the idea of only doing one crop per field per year. I don't like just carrying one pallet. I'm an impatient guy. I do like productions though. It definitely makes things more interesting. It makes things a little more bearable. You're not just harvesting to harvest. I don't think when it comes time, it's like I'm going to settle into an arables map here. Eventually, we had a launch of a map that takes place or is based on Michigan today. We've never had that in the mod hub before, so I'm going to take a closer look at that map. There's a couple other maps that I'm kind of waiting on at this point. And then once we have those in hand, we'll probably see a few more Let's Plays in different spots. But because of where I'm going to be down to, twice a week at the most, I've really got to... Okay. I got to do something with that now. That's going to drive me nuts if I don't handle that now. Okay. Landscaping... Soften. There we go. Just soften the terrain to make it more, make it able to be navigated a little better. Let's see. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. Getting stuff in here is gonna... Ugh, come on. Really? It just keeps catching on that pallet. Well, if I was gonna make a mess, I might as well make a mess on stream. Not gonna stay on very long tonight, to be honest. A little tired. I think what's gonna happen here is as we move into Tuesdays are going to be coffee and hay evenings because I get Wednesdays off. So I'll have a little more time to devote to doing Tuesday evening stream because I can stay up a little later. But I'd like to start doing some map tours because we honestly have a lot of maps that are now available just in like the last week and a half alone. We've had a large expansion of mod maps into the system. So we could easily have some map tours and do some harvesting and just play around. Make Tuesday kind of lighthearted. With this, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try to make it a less serious venture. It's like Elmcreek here. This is like my first like serious venture into any of the extra things in this game. So I'm trying it out. This is the first animals that I'm doing are on this map. But, then for Sunday afternoons will be the other stream day that I'll have the time and availability. And we're gonna keep doing things on the German map that I started with over the weekend. So there'll be some small farming and kind of building up a little on a small map to begin with. But I do have a plan for a rather large Let's Play that's going to involve kind of expanding. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do something that's going to be building from the bottom of the ladder and kind of starting with like really small equipment, working my way up to gigantic stuff, or whether I'm just going to have larger stuff that maybe isn't as effective as the largest stuff. But definitely Tuesdays are going to be more for like fun and introductions to things. And a farm tour on Elmcreek tonight just seemed like the perfect basis to start off the Tuesday with. Now, let's see how I did. Wow, I didn't do completely terrible. I mean, it's not great. Yeah, these are too heavy. Some pallets you can actually pick up, which I wouldn't want to anyway. But love the warehouse. That is definitely going to be a plus. Sure, I'm always up for a good dad joke. No, I didn't. What about it? Oh my god. That is a super dad joke. But that one I'm gonna hang on to. I bet you make a lot of kids scratch their head with that one or roll their eyes, one or the other. Thank you. Oh. That was too good. It's been too long. I haven't streamed in so long. It felt kind of... It used to be so much of a routine for me, and now it's just like one of those things that I gave up when I started working. So it's nice to get back into it a little. And I kind of had one of those days that was just kind of like, blech. Like I could have lived without it, honestly. I started the day off by almost hitting a deer in a company vehicle. That like that like dove out into traffic in a downtown area, and it was like, oh my god, like 150-pound doe, less than a car length away. Yeah, I'm glad to be streaming again too. It'll be nice. It sucks because I don't catch a lot of people's streams like at all anymore. Unemployment was good for like setting your own schedule for sleep and everything, but it's nice to have the money. It's nice to have the employment. It's nice to be useful. You know, I was useful to my family, but I could be more useful, you know, working 40 hours a week. So. And it was funny. I was watching. There's a YouTuber that I watch. They do what you would call time-lapse farm sim videos, which they speed everything up so that you can see more of the process. And that's all he does on YouTube. And I was watching some of his earlier stuff, and you know, I've always been worried about streaming the exact same thing over and over again. It's like farm sim, got to do something different for a stream. You know, people don't want to watch the same thing over and over again. And it was funny because I was watching like a video from like 2 years ago when he was just getting started, and he was doing the same thing in the video that I had just watched a newer video on, just with different style mods. It was kind of funny. So I'm not going to stress about doing the same thing over and over again in the videos. I stress a lot about that, or I used to stress a lot about that, and I can't. It's not worth it. If I wanna just, cultivate a field or fertilize, a stretch of, lands, then so be it. That's what I'm gonna do for the stream. If I do that 40 times over the span of 20 streams, then who cares? That's me. I think when it comes to live streaming, people come for the conversation. I'm going to do something a little different that I've never done before, and I can't wait to show it. But I also need, like, the perfect map for it, and I'm still kind of waiting. A map that just came out today, I've got to look that over a little closer. Because that may actually be the map to do this on. Well, what I have planned anyway. There was something on it that I saw. I did a quick run through when I saw that it was available today. I did a quick run through of it, and there was one thing that hit me the hardest about it. It kind of stuck with me. And it was a good kind of stuck with me. It wasn't something that I was expecting, quite honestly. So if it works out, it may actually play into what I was trying to do without me having to put too much work into it at the same time. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So, doing some variety. I am doing a few different things, but I'm not gonna... I have like 20 different cattle farms over streaming this thing over the next 2 years. Who cares, as long as I'm having fun with it. Getting together for some conversations is always nice too. So Elmcreek, what to say about it, what to kind of leave it with. It's kind of bittersweet for me. This is an American map that's based on the Midwest. It's a decent map in its setup and its kind of its execution, but it is kind of lacking in a few zones. It's kind of boring. Like, I hate to say it, but I started playing on this map in November when the game came out. This was kind of like my big deal, Elm Creek. This was going to be where I was going to, let's play out an Agco farm with, Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Versatile. Versatile tractors are a thing. The only actual mass-produced tractor that comes out of Canada. That's a thing now. This is still a thing too. I don't quite get it. If it catches it, it just pulls the forklift forward. It's weird. But it kind of soured really quick. And the French map, forget it. The French map is stupid. It's not well thought out. It's not well set up. It's kind of aggravating. Calmsden Farm, which is a UK-based map, was probably the thing that got me back into the game. That's been real popular, but the only reason I'm not really doing a whole lot is the modders working on an update, and that new update will actually require like a save game when you get going with it. So it's not going to be something that I really want to play on until the save game comes through. And I have like close to 60-70 hours into that map. It's kind of working like American Life Farming did. It's really well done, but then the mod map, the map creator just needs to make improvements, and unfortunately the improvements involve a lot of code change. So we will probably stream on Calmsden a bit. There's a few other creations that caught my eye right away, and I love it. I really do. One is silos like this. They are creating silos like this now. that will take chaff and hay and will actually create silage. This is a first for console players. So for the first time ever, I can actually create a farm that has real live silos and get real live silage out of it. And we do have grain silos now where you can actually buy a grain bin that requires you to get a separate auger to run the material up into the silo. There are a few farm maps coming out that are going to really implement a system like this with dryers down at the bottom of it, so it actually dries out the corn or the grain as it goes in. But this has been a real plus for the community. Is just some of these neat little tricks. Of course, this is where I'm keeping all the straw. My 6M. And I guess, well, no better time than now. I'm going to flip through. As you can see, there are quite a few vehicles on the map as well. This is a huge plus here. I'm going to show this because we should. But the slot count, 4,400 total slots, squares, whatever you want to call it. That means that, you know, I can pretty much get whatever equipment I want. Just kind of scrolling through. And I'm using 2,068 of it right now. It's a big deal. It has changed the way that I've played because I can get the different equipment that I want. I don't have to worry about going up against a slot count and having to sell something else to make room for another thing. It is really kind of a cool design. They did make an adjustment to the slot count. That slot count used to be over 5,000 allowed. They changed that over because they were actually having issues with it. Okay. The other thing we have here is we have sales on equipment. So the equipment itself you can buy used now and you get a percentage off. It means typically that you have to repair things, but it also means that you don't have to pay as much. So you pay a smaller repair fee plus whatever the cost is for the item, and then you just go through. It is a lot cheaper, and it will help people that do kind of from scratch and from the bottom up get a little more. The only disadvantage is it tends to wear the equipment or the tractor quicker. So we're actually going to buy this because we need a roller. I'm going to start up the 8960 here. We'll go get that roller. I mean, just the model improvements. I never used to like this tractor because I didn't feel like the model was really model. But it definitely feels a lot more. You can see everything shifting, everything moves. And I mean, this is pretty much just a lot of base game models. That stuff will work now. The detail might not be as solid as something like this goes, but it's definitely more detailed than it was previously. We'll go get the field roller here. The fields that I planted wheat in are right off to our left. All of those need to be rolled. I cannot wait, honestly, for the Precision Farming DLC that comes out exactly a month from today, actually. They've got some new John Deere fertilizing equipment coming with that, like some actual base game stuff. They have soil samplers, they have soil scanners, they have soil maps that you can buy from third-party, like independent contract companies now that are going to be coming out. So there's going to be a lot more to do than there has been previously. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. That is going to change a lot of the way that we're playing right now. Okay. Check for traffic. The AI in this game is brutal. Will not slow down for anything. It used to be that they travel too slow. Now they travel way too fast. So there's definitely a lot more emphasis on keeping fields better maintained in this game than in the past as well. That involves everything from fertilizing to plowing to, in this case, rolling. It's a new thing that's been introduced. You don't necessarily see this a lot of the time with farmers, but the rolling technique, which is just packing in the soil around the seed, occurs after a planting. So you plant the product, and then you take a tractor and a roller, and you pack down the soil around the seed, making it kind of airtight, if you will. Now, me, of course, I did the stupid thing of not checking 350 horsepower, and I think that tractor that I'm hauling it with at the moment has 370. Yeah, 370. So the roller's actually perfect for this. This is, meadow rolling on grass is something that you will see farmers do. I have never seen an arable farmer pack the soil behind the planter or the seeder. But that's not to say it doesn't happen, because it is actually it's a practice that occurs in Europe especially. As you can see, it was great. The largest of the rollers was on sale. They're all base game right now. There are a few that do grass rolling, which will not do the same thing that this does. They can't even be used the same way. You can come up now and see how much damage is on something. So I can see 28% damage on this roller. We don't really need to repair that. Not worried about 28%. And over here you can actually come over and see field info pops up. The needs rolling thing is there. You can see a yield bonus. You can see how much it's been fertilized. So with that planting, I actually have 100% fertilization in the soil now. The yield bonus is at a 95% yield bonus. So the hope is that once we run this roller over, the yield bonus will be at 100% as well. But you can see underneath it, what'll pop up is the John Deere 8960. It will give you an owned by, so if you're playing on a multiplayer map, you can see exactly who owns the tractor if it's not yours. Excuse me. You can see the amount of diesel fuel in the tank. You can actually see DEF or diesel exhaust fluid. It's not something that's going to affect a console mod, even if it's part of it. And B, this tractor wouldn't have had that system because it's too old. But you can see how many liters. Air, I'm not really sure what the whole air thing is, to be honest. I've never seen that until today. So that's actually new to me. I'm not sure if they're talking about the air in the tires. That may actually be the air in the tires. I didn't realize that was a thing. This is 100% repaired, so they're not showing any need for repair. But if we were to go in here and after running it, it'll give me a number of damage percent, basically. All right, so let's climb on up. Let's actually get some use out of this tractor. You see the roller. Now the roller looks a lot like the planted. So you have to be really, really careful what it is it takes the planted look, and if you look at it real closely, you can see kind of a lighter pattern emerging, but you can also see that it's a finer line being packed in the soil. Don't know if they have any intents on changing the way that looks. I don't imagine they will, because essentially all you're doing is you're making a packed soil. We're just going to hop out. You can see the yield bonus is at a 98%, and I'm not really sure how you get to 100%. You know, I tend to do a lot of everything, and I still get 98% here, there, and everywhere. May have noticed as well, there's a bit of a lag in the tractor moving forward. That's the gearbox running. They have gone over. You can do manual shifting yourself if you wanted to. I myself, I don't touch that because I just, I have enough trouble concentrating on what the implement is doing, what the tractor is doing. I don't want to be stuck doing that as well. You can see under certain lights, the rollers kind of doing their thing a little better. If it's not perfect, also, there's nothing to worry about. And hopefully with the precision farming DLC coming out in April, hopefully we can really get those yields up to 100% without having to mess around too much. Gonna have to wait for the traffic to clear. You can see a nice lighter pattern going on there. Starting from that lower gear is definitely a pain. You can see it's kind of going against the patterns. I try not to pay too much attention to that, honestly, because it's supposed to be a game that's fun. It's not supposed to produce a headache that makes you really kind of regret what you're doing. So I think next week what we're going to do is we're going to tour the map Hills of Slovenia, which is a map that made it out to the PC a couple of weeks ago. Modders are basically putting their own creations up on independent sites to get stuff up because the mod hub, essentially the mod hub that's used in-game, the Giants Run hub, is backed up seriously. I mean, we're talking April and May are projected dates on certain mods that we know are in those testing lists. Today's count was over 750 mods sitting waiting to be tested. And that's an update as of midday normally. So every day they send up an update except for Saturday and Sunday, obviously, when they're not in the office. So you can imagine if a mod test takes somewhere around 15 days, then some of those mods may not even be seen until January. We've got maps that are also being either converted, created, waiting for testing. Stone Valley is a map that we're going to be seeing again, as far as that goes. But that's one of those things. Lancey Boy, the creator of that, he's converting everything over, and he's remaking a lot of buildings to make more sense. For example, these are the map creators that won't use models from the actual game to create this. They'll use, self-created models for animal pens and for dealerships and those. And that's important. But I mean, he's taking time off to deal with personal stuff right now. So we know even though he had a lot of progress on the map, now we have to wait through the personal stuff as well as wait for him to finish it, and then go through the testing. So there's a few things to keep under consideration with the way that the mod hub is going. So obviously Hills of Slovenia, um, it's a cool kind of European feel to it, and I've seen some Let's Plays on it already. I'm excited to get a map tour in there, and I'm excited to go ahead and get Coffee and Hay going right kind of back up at the same time. So it should be a fun time. It'll be a later segment. Tonight was a bit earlier than anticipated. Not much earlier, mind you, than when we'll be actually streaming. But it will be slightly earlier. And depending on if the night before I get a chance to actually do a tour of that map, before actually doing it live on stream, will be it'll be interesting to see how some of these maps go. So as you can see, we didn't own this field prior to its cultivation, so there are stones in here. I actually shut stones and rock picking out. I shut it off entirely because it just doesn't match realistically what you'd encounter. It's a cool little added piece, but it's definitely not going to do the trick for what we want. Just got to clear the railroad tracks before that nasty train comes back and hauls off with me and the equipment. And a roller will pack smaller rocks like this all the time anyway. Some wood advantages for the area these rocks are showing. It was cultivated. A cultivator isn't deep enough to pull up the really nasty large rocks that we see with plows. So I don't have to worry about rock picking on top of rolling. I just literally have to roll this. Lime's already been applied to the field as well, so we don't have to worry about that. At this point, quite honestly, I just needed something for my 8960 to do. This is one of the more underappreciated articulating tractors by John Deere. It's definitely an interesting design. I will say the earlier designs leave a lot to be desired. There's quite an engine and an engine compartment on this. 370 horses is a lot of horsepower to contend with and to deal with. But it's also one of those things where it seems too large for what it is. And, previously, when you look at other articulating tractors that I had in FS19, and then you look at the 8960, the 8960 is definitely a larger creature, to be sure. It's got a larger nose on it, it's got a much larger compartment. The rear housing has space to put the extra tank on the top there. That's actually an extra fuel tank on the very top of that. So there's all these little features that kind of make it feel like it should be a much bigger performer in the horsepower department. Now, when it came out, 370 brake horsepower would have been a really big deal. Okay. Let's see, will the traffic stop? Nope. Told you, it doesn't stop for anything. Normally I would make a headland here, but I want to deal. I just want to roll out the field. And it's nice because, a lot of times when you get these articulated tractors, the goal is to really put a force behind it, and you end up with large implements. I'd like to have things like the 9200 series of John Deere make a return, and I know that Sid is working on those as we speak. He was the guy to introduce some of the bigger in-demand mods and some of the bigger stuff that really made console playing worth it in the last generation. And he's making console playing worth it again in this generation. There's a few other modders that are doing really good work out there. Omatana is definitely one of them. If you aren't familiar with her work, the best thing to do in the world is look up Granny Gamer on Twitter, and she does live updates through that page as well. She's doing a lot with productions. Like I said, she's the one that's responsible for bringing productions like popcorn, french fries, premium potatoes, strawberry ice cream, things that you wouldn't think of or that you would think would be cool, but Giants didn't bother to do. You can now do thanks to her pushing it. On the smaller, more classic tractor end of things, EY modding is definitely a huge contender for that position. He makes some really, really good old school, low horse, small tractors. They're just absolutely tiny. One of his actually came out today. It's a Kramer. It was available for use in Farming Simulator 19 as well. So there was definitely there's definitely a few modders out there that are really making a difference. I think Sid had one of the bigger impacts on this generation, not only because I'm a huge fan of the John Deere mods, of the Challenger mods, and everything that he does pull out, but I'm also a huge fan because of how quick he submitted those mods for download, for use. It was definitely a bigger impact on the mod hub, especially when his X9 came out. His X9 Combine Harvester was the first thing out that he had, followed by this rig, and then the 8R, the 9R series. He's slowly launching things as we go. Custom modding is another one that created some of the mods that I couldn't live without in Farming Simulator 19. He's got a huge list of tractors and equipment and implements that he is actually converting over into Farming Simulator 22 from 19. The big thing that's going on and the thing that really makes news with custom modding is custom modding tends to have heavy on the slots, high polygon count models, and they tend to be detailed, just like Sid moddings tends to be detailed. There are a lot of PC only mods that are actually going to be making it to the console this time because of the improvements that were made into the next gen series here. So between that and the rules regarding repeat mods, like being able to make the same mods, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming because custom modding made a lot of different things. Agco's Challenger 1000 series, for example, which is a much better model than the one that we have now on 22, as well as the one that we have on Farming Simulator 19. But there were a lot of conflicts because the same mods could not be, the same models could not be produced by a different modder. Once a modder beat you to the punch and got it uploaded, you couldn't make that model in return. So a lot would make better models and then put them up on private mod sites for people to download the folders. That is not happening this time. At last count, custom modding had somewhere around 50 pieces altogether of conversions that were coming to Mod Hub. It's kind of scary just how many he's pushing, but quite honestly, between him and Sid modding JAHG modding is another good one. Between the stellar all-star performers and the game itself, though, quite honestly, it's going to be a stand-up game. It's already improving. Like I mentioned the other day, I will not buy the new farming simulator when that comes out. I will not buy that for at least the first 6 or 7 months. I will leave that alone. It's just not worth pushing into that market so early because there's nothing to do in these games. And then I run into the error where I couldn't even stream this game. I'm still getting a message telling me that this game does not allow for broadcasting. Even tonight before we got going, I was advised that this game does not allow streaming. So there's a big disconnect with what the software is actually allowing me to do versus what the software thinks it's allowing me or not allowing it. And so, when you're this far into it, I mean, it came out in November. We're now towards the end of March, and some of this stuff still isn't resolved. The mods are making better strides than the company itself. One of the big things coming out today was the first DLC for the game. I'm not touching the tractors for it. I'm not doing anything because the first DLC are small miniature tractors that deal strictly with grape vineyards. And grape vineyards are fine, except there hasn't really been a good Mediterranean map to grow grapes and olives on. And that's, for me, the map is going to tell the story more than I can tell the story. If I'm growing grapes in the middle of friggin' Ohio or Iowa, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in corn and wheat country to be growing grapes all of a sudden. A lot of times the environment doesn't allow for it in the first place, and then there's just a sense that I could be doing 100 different things different on those pieces of land anyway, just simply because that's what those lands were used for, is something different than what you're seeing there. So it's interesting. I'm not gonna fuss about it too much, but I will say that due to things like environmental storytelling being difficult at the moment, that's part of another reason that I'm thankful not to have too many maps out there for what I'm looking to do right now. So, with any luck, there'll be more of a push for that. Although central rollers aren't moving. They're kicking up dirt, but they're not actually moving. Okay. Gonna let the traffic clear. There we go. Just getting a small drink here. Now comes the super fun part, which is getting these little sections down here. Articulating tractors really aren't too bad as long as you fold one in on itself, and as long as you realize that wherever you're pointing the nose of the tractor, that's exactly where the implement's going to be 10, 12 seconds from now. just kind of keep that in mind. Even in this game, it's similar to that. Point the nose in the direction that you want the module to go towards. Rest of this field rolled, and then I would have accomplished everything I set out to do. Straight. I still have some liming and other things to do. This would probably be the farms I rarely ever stream on, just because it's kind of what I was doing in American Life farming, and I don't want to do that right away. Like I said, I do enjoy farming in a certain way on these games, and I'm not going to shy away from doing what I enjoy to do on the game, but at the same time, I don't want to do the same thing back to back. So there'll be a little separation in this. You won't see too much of the same map. Dairy farm in the US with a few similarities, but a few differences at the same time. So not easy to see where I've rolled. Rolling is probably one of the more difficult tasks for me. I like to do it right after planting. The objective here is to get all of this packed in. And if I get rid of the stones, I'm not going to be damaging my harvester in the summer when I come over this. But I do eat and I do baling, but I definitely want to stream that so you guys can see me harvest with the equipment. It's not something that does it any justice when it comes to doing it with the smaller implements like we did this last time. I will say the enhanced details with things like chaff and with the wheat itself is pretty impressive. We'll definitely have to do silage harvest with corn. I have to get that 8RX out and possibly do the planting of the corn with the 8RX on stream as well. Don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. Still haven't used it. It's a mod that's been out for a while, and I was itching to get my hands on it. And I didn't have the ability at the time to play it with it. I haven't gone through that much. That shows you how little I've actually played the game at the same time. We're gonna fold this up for a second. Oh. I don't want to have to few stones all that wide open. It's nice to just close it up and get across the ground quick. Now hop out and just take a look. You can see the fertilization bonus on this section is 50%, which means we have to come through here with fertilizer at some point. I have not made up my mind if there'll be enough manure or slurry to do this the old-fashioned way. I imagine there will be, but you never quite know, so that is something that we'll have to figure out. This is the first time I've actually used this 860 for like anything outside of just being a display piece on the farm. So. This honestly shouldn't take terribly. You can actually see, or I can see an outline on this one. This is probably a single pass, actually. Which is kind of a bum, but works out really well. And there you go. One wheat field rolled. Gonna close it up. And you can hear all the hydraulics. It's the sound design blew me away the most, I think. Tractors, the modders are trying to get their hands on actual models now. I think, if I recall right, Farming Simulator 19 had 3 different tractor engine models. So it is definitely a huge upgrade from the last time. Your engine strains and gearbox shifts and all of that. It's not something that you got. And if you did get it, it was like a premium mod. There were some premium mods that were John Deere. They were like medium to low horsepower tractors. And they would take like 74, 75 slots, which, as you know, when you're looking at a 1200 slot limit, it doesn't really allow you to use those. And I am hoping that a few of those do come in and are there, because it would be really nice to be able to actually farm with some of those tractors as well. They're actually nice tractors, and tractors that I see a lot of up here in this area. This grain, like this grain silo is ridiculous. I'm gonna get the tractor on the other side. It's gonna take a minute. Just want to take a minute to actually appreciate just how big the grain elevator is here. So this is a little railroad loading station as well. You rent the train. This is the loading station. The train comes through here, you load, unload, and you leave to go sell your wares, or the train leaves to sell your wares off the map. I mean, they've got container tucked away over here. It's open. Oh, look at that. Hope I don't get a copyright strike for those little snippets. That would be bad. But you can see like grain elevators and things being pulled apart here. This is the only active one at the moment. The pit silo, you can actually see the grain nestled there. Alright. Bonus is 95% here. I wonder if we'll see 100% roll this out. Let's finish this stream up by rolling this stream. Let's roll it. Just to see if it'll hit. Let's see if it hits 100%. Roll a little bit. There we go. Let's see. So we're getting 97, 98% on 100% fertilized roll on the ground. So you can almost get what you need. If I had mulched this before I had gone through and started the cultivation process, I would probably be looking at 100%. But we'll continue to experiment with that. Unfortunately, with some of this stuff, it's like it's proven science to a degree, but it's not necessarily like the primary way of getting good yield bonuses out of your crops. It's just what the game has decided to do. Alright, so that's been a glance at the Elmcreek Dairy. Like I said, from time to time, we'll probably take small snippets over to visit, such as harvest season. We won't show this, because this is the only field we have left. The yield bonus is looking good, but we will take the time to come and visit, see how operations are going. Probably see that shed full of fertilizer and other things, and see how production's going on ice cream and see how those shelves are doing. So if you did like and enjoy this, make sure if you're viewing this on YouTube, which by the end of this week, the 2 episodes that I've streamed will be up on YouTube for you to watch. Oh look, the rain's coming down now. So it's started the process of fall rains. But if you do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see these live episodes, that would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank everybody for showing up. If you're new to the channel on Twitch, make sure to hit that follow button. Every follow helps me get towards affiliate. I'd like to just thank you guys again for coming in, and have yourselves a